I'm coming!
What time is it then? Please tell these guys.
It's Tony time, bitches!
Welcome to Tony's MMA Corner, the only MMA channel filmed at an undisclosed location in the Bronx. I am your host, Tony Sepula! And today, we're going to give you all that secret juice that's flowing through the MMA community. No homo. So far it seems that life after UFC isn't so sweet for Francis Ngannou. Has been earlier reported, David Feldman of BKFC has stated that he would love to have Francis Ngannou, but that his price tag is just way too high. I get Francis Ngannou might be weighing out his options, but if this man doesn't get out there and start cracking some skulls, sooner than later, his notoriety is going to run out, and he's not going to be making the money that he thought he'd be making post-UFC. My suggestion for Francis is that he takes a fight with a moderate payout, knocks somebody completely silly, as he's able to do, and then get that monster payout. The longer he sits on the sidelines, the worse it'll be for him. And then I'm really going to have to start the Francis Ngannou fund. And make sure you become a patron on my Patreon so you can support that Francis Ngannou fund. Peloton has finally made his announcement of what he plans on doing after that vicious KO loss to Adesanya. Rather than look for that trilogy fight, he is moving up to 205, which is probably his more natural weight class, as he has historically struggled to make the weight. But, like a pro has made it every time, there are a lot of great potential matchups for him, and it's a perfect time for light heavyweight, because they need some star power ever since John Jones left, and it doesn't seem to be a very grappling heavy division. So, because he's already won the middleweight title, he could probably get 1 or 2 wins and fight for that belt against a very beatable Jamal Hill. Who would you guys like to see Peloton face first? Maybe like a Yuri, Anthony Smith, a Pavlovich? There are definitely some interesting matchups for him at light heavyweight. And I look forward to seeing if that power will carry over and if he can stop the bigger grapplers from taking him down. Recently, Eugene was very dismissive of Chimaev as a next title contender for Israel Adesanya. He was claiming, and I think he was alluding, to the fact that Chimaev not making weight in his last bout automatically disqualifies him as a contender. Now, in my mind, I think he's just using that as an excuse because Chimaev is a very real threat to Israel Adesanya's crown. Sure, Adesanya has been on an absolute tear besides that small little hiccup with Peloton, but Chimaev has proven that he is just an animal wherever he goes. Sure, he was touched up in that Gilbert Burns fight, so it does make it interesting, but Gilbert Burns is an elite grappler, and we saw in the Israel Adesanya fight with Peloton that he still has a lot of work to do in the grappling area. No one has really made him pay, and a guy like Chimaev will certainly make him pay. But I tend to agree with Eugene, not based on the fact that he doesn't deserve it. Does that even matter anymore in MMA? More based on the fact that he should fight Paulo Costa first, because that fight has violence and entertainment written all over it. They're already starting to troll each other online, and I think that would be an absolute epic showdown. And will give Chimaev a true test before he fights Izzy. He wins that, Eugene, he's gotta fight Izzy, whether you like it or not. Yet another potential matchup may be brewing. Beneil Dariush and Charles Oliveira's fight has been canceled for UFC 288. And I shouldn't say canceled, it's been postponed. So it's not going to be on UFC 288. That card now has a little bit of a void in it. And Gilbert Burns says he'll fight anybody to become a co-main on that card. Gilbert Burns is really starting to step up. And Belal Muhammad wasted no time saying that he too would fight anybody. I think the UFC should scramble and make this fight ASAP. It would create 2 stars automatically. Belal Muhammad is a guy who already struggles to gain the favor of the MMA community. Him stepping up in this way to fight an animal like Gilbert Burns would definitely do well for his career. And Gilbert Burns will just eliminate any other possibility of anybody else fighting for the title after Kobe and Leon Edwards. If Kobe and Leon Edwards end up fighting, Gilbert Burns might just end up snatching up that opportunity by being more active. That's how Usman did it. Usman snatched up that title opportunity from Kobe when Kobe was supposed to be the person to dethrone Tyron Woodley. And Gilbert Burns has a great opportunity to do just that. So UFC, you need to make that fight and make welterweight great again. Last week, Nate Diaz and Jake Paul have announced they're going to face each other in an MMA match. No, I'm just kidding. In yet another MMA boxing match. Somehow, people want to see it. I mean, I started looking at the buzz of this fight, not from like actual fighters, but like fans. And people want to see Nate Diaz knock out Jake Paul. They still think this is the Diaz that used to just pepper guys with shots and then someone's going to shoot on him and then he'd guillotine him. It's a boxing match. That's not how things work. It's not going to happen. Jake Paul, whether we like it or not, has proven that he can box lower level boxers. And MMA guys have proven that they are lower level boxers. You have to really focus on boxing to be elite at it. It's just the way it is. Sure, Nate Diaz is super durable, and he's been known to wear guys out and then finish them, but he doesn't have that same durability he's had his whole career. I really don't think he's going to win this one. After seeing Jake Paul fight Anderson Silva, who is a far better striker than Nate Diaz, I just don't see this going well for Nate Diaz. Don't get me wrong, I love to watch Nate Diaz stock and slap him. But we gotta live in reality. We have a younger, bigger boxer. Whether we like it or not, Jake Paul has put in the work and become a boxer. Even in his loss to Tommy Fury, who was an actual boxer, he held his own. And even after losing, he still has some buzz around his fights. And if he beats Nate Diaz, the circus continues. So, hopefully Nate Diaz can pull it off. And we're going to be seeing a lot more Jake Paul. This weekend, that Russian predator, Sergey Pavlovich, I nailed that name, goes up against Curtis Blaydes. This is the supreme test for Pavlovich. If he could pull this off, he is the next big contender in the heavyweight division. And if John Jones and Stipe gets pulled off this year, the winner will have a contender that is very dangerous. Sure, he lost in his debut in the UFC by getting TKO'd by Alistair Overeem. Surprisingly, because everybody knocks out Alistair Overeem, especially later in his career. But since then, he's been on an absolute tear, finishing everybody within the first round. And that is scary for anybody who's across the ring from him. But we're going to see if the grappling of Curtis Blaydes can nullify that punching power of this dangerous Russian. I think Pavlovich pulls it off yet again in a first round KO, because Blaydes has been known to get hit and get knocked out. So this weekend, get ready for the heavyweight division's new star. Well guys, that's it for me, and I'll see you guys next time on Tony's MMA Corner. Stockton Slap.
I'm coming!